Fasting, whether it's prolonged, alternate day fasting, intermittent fasting, and or time-restricted feeding are all protocols that have been utilized and promoted, including enhancing autophagy, which is this intracellular cleanup process that may help prevent protein aggregates that form in the brain, in the liver, in the muscle tissue. It's been shown to decrease blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. It's been shown to decrease fat infiltration in the liver. It's been shown to potentially reduce aspects related to cancer by decreasing this pro-growth factor called mechanistic target of rapamycin, or mTOR. So there's all these benefits linked with fasting. The downside of fasting is that you can increase protein catabolism. You can sort of prevent some of the benefits that you get from exercising. For women who are already in a calorie deficit, it can change, their hormone and menstruation, lead to hypothalamic amenorrhea. Fasting is for people who are sedentary, who are insulin resistant, who don't exercise regularly. You're traveling. You have a sedentary job. You have an injury that precludes you from going to the gym and doing exercise. Fasting is great for you. Why? Because you're not adding that other movement aspect into your lifestyle prescription program to improve blood sugar health. But if you regularly exercise, if you go to the gym, if you're trying to improve muscle mass like I am, and not succumb to the sarcopenic obesity that happens naturally as you age, then fasting is probably not the best solution for you. And I'll share with you a modified fasting prescription if you exercise. We want to get the benefits from physical activity. And if you're doing exercise and fasting all the time, one of those things is not going to be supported most beneficially. If you're exercising, if you're getting into a state of oxygen debt and you're pushing your body, fasting is not going to help you have a good workout. You want to have a good workout. Most people, now there's some anomalies out there, but most people have a better workout not fasted, okay? I know there's some folks. We've had Robert Sykes on the podcast before. We have Dr. David Jockers on the podcast before. Both of these individuals really benefit, and they've made a habit out of exercise fasted. But for most people, they don't have the best exercise session. So I'm recommending for you, for longevity, for supporting lean muscle mass, for preventing age-related muscle loss, for improving blood sugar health, that you should prioritize your exercise sessions and worry about fasting later. And so this is one of the things that I've switched up, and I've had clients switch this up, and they're actually getting better results. Now, look, it's hard when you've promoted something for so long. I've been talking about intermittent fasting on this platform since 2016 after interviewing all these people. So it's like kind of weird for me to say, well, I've kind of changed my tune, but it would be just dogmatic of me to continue to promote the same old things without tinkering and trying and testing these things, especially with clients and people that I'm working with, and finding added benefits to, instead of doing these prolonged fasts, or 20 hours a day, one meal a day, although that can be beneficial, as I mentioned, for morbidly obese people, sedentary people who are just not exercising because they have a limitation, an injury, or they're traveling, or they're whatever. Most people are benefiting from just doing time-restricted feeding, eating earlier in the day, starting their fast earlier in the day, meaning cutting off that last meal earlier, so they're giving themselves some time to digest and break down the foods that they're eating, and focusing more on having good exercise sessions, causing the stimulus to the muscle. Fasting doesn't prevent the loss of muscle fibers. In fact, prolonged fasting does accelerate muscle loss. We also know that there's so many health benefits, anti-cancer benefits, anti-inflammatory benefits linked with resistance training, having lean mass. The lean mass to fat mass ratio, especially as you age, is very important. There's this quotient that scientists are talking about called the muscle quality index. Your muscle quality is linked to prevention of age-related diseases, mild cognitive impairment, dementia, Alzheimer's, heart disease, cancer. Okay, so if you have crappy muscle because maybe you're just eating one meal a day, but you're not exercising, so you're doing all the fasting stuff right, but you're not adding that stimulus to the muscle, your muscle quality is not going to be there, my friends. That we need to prioritize exercise, balance, movement, and muscle quality. when you don't exercise and you're insulin resistant, your muscle gets infiltrated by fat. And that decreases the quality of the muscle and the strength, and there's some limitations there. So in my opinion, anything longer than 18 to 20 hours is going to sort of fall into that category of a prolonged fast, okay? So most people, if you're physically active, if you're exercising, if you're moving your muscles, I don't know that you need to do more than 16 hours a day. I wouldn't generally advise it, because you're going to start to compromise some of the adaptations and the benefits that you could be getting from that exercise. So many people are concerned about breaking their fast with a little collagen or a little bit of, look, if you're exercising, this is the beauty about it. It doesn't matter. Because when you're exercising, you're accelerating all the same mechanisms that are increasing when you're fasting. That's exercise is the best fasting enhancer. I'm not worried about these things breaking my fast because I'm walking 3, 4, 5, sometimes 20 miles a day. It just depends on the day, right? Hiking, climbing, doing backpacking, biking everywhere. So I'm not worried about a little bit of monk fruit in electrolyte. Like, that's the least of my concern. A prolonged fast, it's going to be something more of 18 hours or more, because what happens then is you deplete your muscle and liver glycogen, okay? You start to drop your blood glucose. Again, these are linked with all the benefits as well. But what starts to happen, at least early on, is there is a little bit of catabolism of skeletal muscle. Now, is it significant? Is it beneficial? There are some adaptations that may be linked with this and so on. I would wager that some sort of combination of resistance training paired with time-restricted feeding is going to be the best of both worlds. Generally, just most people feel more vibrant when they're eating food. Now, is this going to shorten my lifespan or your lifespan if you take my advice and start to increase resistance training and focus on weightlifting and really getting progress in the gym and getting stronger as you age as opposed to getting weaker? Because I noticed that as excited as I was about all the intracellular mechanisms that are linked with autophagy and mTOR inhibition and all of this, that came at a cost. I was not getting stronger with age.